Our Congress, when I say our, it could be that you're a Republican, it could be you're a Democrat. Not looking too good. Yeah. When I say that, whenever we have this person that is controlling things and going and attacking other countries and also sending troops to attack our own people and people just living inside the country and making people nervous and treating families and children badly, also making moves to take away health care and benefits from everyone. Not good. No, not good at all. So when we have a Congress that sees the writing on the wall, whenever they see laws being broken by this person in office and do little or nothing about it, or there's three that try to do something, like Al Green. Thank you, Al Green, starting the impeachment process, the right thing to do. Then we have AOC. Thank you, AOC. You're on the right track. And you also have others that are on the right track and want to go forward with an impeachment, especially whenever attacks on another country without war powers. Yeah, not doing things by the Constitution, breaking laws. So then you have the insult, the greatest insult. Yes, whenever the people from your own party thumb their noses in your face and do not do the right thing by going and voting along with the others to impeach the... Yes. So whenever you see that happen, it's more than just talk. It's at this point, it's actions, and it's actually inaction whenever you don't vote for impeachment. So at this stage, it's time to get rid of the incumbents and put people in that will promise to do a better job. Keep AOC in there, keep Bernie Sanders in there, and keep Al Green in there, because they're the only ones that come to my mind. If there are others, let me know. And then there's the primary person in New York, which looks like it's going to maybe do some good. But there's no reason for we, the people, as voters, to just allow the bad actors to stay in there. That time's up. My opinion, but I think it's backed to a fact. What do you think? Let me know. Explaining the E in kings or kinges. Well, it goes back to Old English and all that turmoil in that period whenever it went from Old English to Middle English. And so I'm told, that's all I can go on. It's because I was told this, because I wasn't there. And of course I can look up the literature on it, but then again, isn't that the same thing as being told? It certainly is. So my source of the matter has been a conversation between Rob Words and, well, anyway, that's where I understand that, like the apostrophe and the Norman French and all the mix there, but basically the apostrophe was replacing the E or some vowel at the end to denote what is possessive. So whenever I said in another message here, the king's flag, I'm not sure that they would have said the king's flag or the flag that belongs to the king. They would not have, before a certain time in history, have written or spoke the king apostrophe S flag. That would sound a bit boring, wrong. Anyway, so that's why I wrote it that way, because it was on my mind. I was thinking about that. Yes, just right. Kinges. Or I could go with convention and maybe it would make it a little bit more invisible. King''s. In any case, this is a lot to say. 2 minutes. Yes. Moving on. Because of the nature of our current situation, I have to now speak the words I spoke before, but differently. So I asked the question, why not a change of flag as an emblem if that man, is going to be what he is? Why he does not obtain or propose or direct with his mighty power that he will have his own flag, and that the flag of this country will no longer be the same flag. People are upset as it is. It's not going to upset people any differently, probably, but at least it will be this man's flag. And it's noteworthy that I say this man, not me, the man there at the top. So, as not to offend and cause that man to send people after someone dear to me, meaning what it means. So, tiptoeing around the situation, trying not to be too bold and to cause harm unnecessarily. Therefore, that's the way it is done at this point. And a curtailing, a classification, if for no other word, a cutting, a holding of information will be done. You will see in the titles of these, unless it has been removed at this point. Yes. But why not a new flag? Consider that. Why not? If this person has taken over the government and says down with everything everyone else wants, he has made himself what he is, even though the crowds say, no, we do not want this, and they edge closer and closer. Some even go so far as to be violent. But yeah, why not a new flag? Why is this flag that represents a set of laws and a history of men that fought against tyrants? Why that flag? Some sort of magic is he working? Think of it. Is that what it is? To this man at the top, thinking that this flag is magic. Keep it as a shield. Yeah, maybe. So, on this issues of flags, I just happened to be doing a quick little search, and the way that AI works now is just like blah, blurts it out. But I saw this person called Roy Jaruk, who is a former merchant marine officer, and on a web posting he said the following about the knowledge of a presidential flag or some such thing. It says, of course, since America does not have a college of arms, as do nations where heraldry is still practiced, he is free to design and fly a flag he likes after he leaves office. Yeah, no, the issue I'm looking at is what he's going to be bold enough to do. Anyway, so he says, quote, the closest thing America has to a college of arms is the U.S. Army Heraldry Institute. That body approved. Where was I? That body approves the design of unit patches for the military, including ships' badges, and is sometimes called on to design military medals. They are occasionally called on to design badges for governmental agencies, but they have no domain over civilian items. That, believe it or not, is covered by trademark law. Indeed. So, yes. What was I doing before? Yes. So, Roy went on to say, quote, "I remind me of a case from the 1980s. The National Broadcasting Company decided to create a new logo to replace the two it had been using since the establishment of the original radio network and the shift from black and white to color broadcasting. The snake, the conjoined NBC, and the multicolored peacock that spread its stylized tail. They chose two rectangles side by side, red and blue." I don't know where he's going with this. But let me pause here just for a moment and read on further to see if I can figure it out. So basically what he came down to is that it was adjudicated much the same way that a College of Arms would have done it. He said, quote, "In the end, adjudicated in much the same way, the College of Arms would have settled a dispute over who had the right to a particular coat of arms during the age of high chivalry. I find that amusing." All right. Maybe you do. Maybe you do as well. Moving on. Okay, here's another one that I just happened to dredge up here just by doing the search and looking around. This one is interesting, but it is dated, and it goes back to something from The Guardian all the way back, I think, at 2018. Yes, August 2018. Named "The Trump Flag, age 3 days old." Yeah, not quite. 2018 and 3 days old. So, blue canton, white stars, 13 alternated red, white, and blue stripes. Red, white, and blue stripes? Yes, sir. These are the colors of my flag, and I'll thank you for not disrespecting them. I'm quoting this from the article. So it goes on to say the stripes are only red, white, and yes, perhaps you're confusing the Trump flag with the flag of the United States of America. So we find that there is a design of this person. Indeed, there was in 2018. Here we are in 2025, though, just looking back. So let's look back a little bit more. So you ask, what's the difference? Well, the flag of the United States of America was reportedly designed by Francis Hopkinson and is thought to have been first hoisted by the Continental Army at Middlebrook Encampment in New Jersey in June 1777. It contains 13 alternating stripes of red and white. And the Trump flag was designed by Donald Trump, sitting next to a bunch of kids during a visit to an Ohio children's hospital. It's like the American flag, but for some reason it's got a blue stripe on it. Oh, so what you're saying is that the American president was photographed coloring in a drawing of the U.S. flag, but that he got it wrong? I'm saying that yes. And out of interest, how has this gone down? That depends if you're a Trump supporter or not. Let's say I'm not. Quoting here. At time of writing, the initial tweet pointing out Trump's error has been retweeted 124,000 times. And if I am, One supporter's tweet reads, "You're hilarious if you don't think the president knows what a flag looks like. He's coloring with children. If it was a horse and he colored it pink, would people be upset? He colored a horse, not a real horse color." So what happens now if Trump says the American flag contains white stripes or contains blue stripes? Do they all have to change? Well, the beauty of the American flag is that it's an ever-evolving statement of nationhood. The current incarnation has only been around since 1960. After Hawaii was accepted as a state, it changed before, and if Puerto Rico is admitted as a U.S. state, it will inevitably change again. So it's possible. No, of course it's not possible. We didn't start spelling potato, P-O-T-A-T-O-E, I'm looking at the quote here, with an E after Dan Quayle mucked up at a spelling bee in 1992. So we probably won't start adding errant stripes to the American flag just because some lumbering dimbo mucked it up. Why does the red, white, and blue stripe flag sound so familiar? Oh, of course, Russia. It's the Russian flag. Donald Trump was coloring the Russian flag. Nothing to worry about here. Everyone move on. Do say, quote, "Thy banners make tyranny tremble when borne by the red, white, and blue," unquote. Don't say, quote, "and blue," unquote. Okay. Much more said there, and I don't want to read the whole article over to you. It covers what it covers. Thinking just now of the old days whenever they had newspapers, and that's all they had, and then thinking, yes, but not too far after that really was the era of audio, radio, and such things. And so the news began being read on radio, and it's pretty much what you're getting here from me. This is like radio. But is it? Well, radiating waves of audio could be said to be radio. Indeed. Digitized now for the purpose of sending them in digitized form for computers to work with. Otherwise, I would literally have to have radio waves going out over the aerial, over a radio. Indeed. It's also known as analog. So, yeah, why did I start this? Well, basically it's kind of like a note of why. The why of the issue. Maybe this will appear somewhere deep down or near the end of whatever I produce from this. So, like a newspaper, they are issued daily or periodically for the purpose of giving news. However, if it's more like a magazine, you don't strictly control or are not strictly controlled by the need for it to be news. So if I do not want to produce anything factual or any news, I could call it a magazine. And what maybe some people would call a news magazine. Yet, here we are in 2025 on YouTube with our smart devices. We can pretty much make it up. Yes. We're kind of hemmed in here and there on different things, but yeah. Then there's what people will accept and what will not. Yeah, that's the hemming in. I'm stitching here. Thank you. Another word for creating. Some might say painting with my voice. So yeah, I am the author, Eugene, son of Douglas, coming up with these brilliant ideas, at times not. So, moving on. This is how I'm doing it. Recording and then deciding what order it will be in as the editor, and then providing it as a screen capture to be then posted in video on YouTube. This should be quite obvious if you're seeing and hearing this. So basically, this is about my work at creating what I've been calling Halo Trek most recently. Halo Trek is a story that is, well, it's got Trek in the name. The thing is I did not want it to be Star Trek. You know, it is what it is. It's not exactly a ripoff because, for one thing, even though there are replicators are a concept unto themselves. They're a replication system based on the ability for science to create copies of things. You know, we have copy machines of all kinds, and then we had this kind of time frame of what we've gone through recently with printers, the kind of printers that print out physical things, not just things on paper. These are replicators. And so Star Trek had those as far back as what? Enterprise? Well, as far back as Star Trek The Next Generation, I don't know that. So I, of course, included that concept in there. The other concept that I had that is not really Star Trek-like, is probably more like Star Wars, androids. But by the time we get to the future, androids are a solid, real thing. Now, they may have gone through several different iterations, types, and probably lots of different concepts using them. Some good, some bad. So I had to try to conceptualize that in the story. And I say story, they're episodes. And so yeah, I've been working on those. The one notable thing about Halo Trek has been the use of androids to deal with the non-gravity situation. Rather than striving hard to create gravity on board, the concept is to use simulation and the help of androids to make it a non-issue as much as possible. Exercise can be applied and taken by the crew as they need it with the help of androids and situations that put them into stress purposefully. And yeah. So the other thing is that I posted these and I'm not getting any feedback. People are not watching it. They're not listening to the stories. They're not looking or reading the stories. They're there. I'm going to leave them there. I'm not going to remove them. But I figure, why strive to create them for you to see all the time if the public is not going to take them and use them and enjoy them? I, of course, enjoy creation and coming up with new ideas for them. So it's really going to be about me doing that, taking it from my mind, some of these wacky ideas I have, and then posting them mainly for that reason. If you get some enjoyment, fine, good. But I'll wait for it to be that for now. That way, too, also, if I want to back out and try something different, then, of course, I can. I'm the creator, right? Yeah. But feedback would be nice. It just hasn't happened yet. I'll address the issue when it does and see what goes from that. Our Congress, when I say our, it could be that you're a Republican, it could be you're a Democrat. Not looking too good.